Hello, I'm Dineshi Ramesh, a Director at Board Intelligence.
I'm Catherine Stalker and I'm a Director at Independent Audit.
Catherine, in our earlier session we talked about the importance of time management and the role of the chair in facilitating and not dominating. What else can be done?
Another element that we find is really important in good chairmanship is fostering the right atmosphere in the room.
The number of meetings I've sat through where the energy is low, everyone is just a little bit exhausted and tired, just doesn't make for a very enjoyable meeting. And yet I've been in other meetings where the pace and the energy have been really strong. It's a completely different dynamic.
And it's a lot down to the chairman what that atmosphere is in the room, because they are closing down discussions that are not going anywhere, they're stopping people from droning on. They're also calling breaks from time to time, because so often you're in a committee or a board meeting where everybody's very involved in the discussion, but there hasn't actually been a break. And by the end of the session, energy's dropping and people are just not enjoying themselves anymore. If they're not enjoying themselves, it's not a good meeting.
Another aspect in a board meeting that relates to atmosphere is the ability to discuss bad news. Now, we see this a lot in our board packs. We see some which are simply good news stories, and that's not right? So what we really encourage people to do is to talk about the bad news in an unvarnished way. So how does one foster a more open dialogue in the boardroom?
It's something that we look for in our board reviews, the board being able to discuss the bad news as well as the good news. And that is an atmosphere, it's a trust between the non-executives and the executives which builds up over time. And it's down to how the board reacts to the bad news. Are they just looking for heads to be chopped and blame to be apportioned, or are they actually looking at the root causes of the problems? Are they trying to be supportive and help management to overcome those problems?
Without doing so in a destructive way.
Exactly.
With the best will in the world, with the best agenda and the atmosphere, lots of breaks, things can still not pan out well, and it could be related to the way the members of the board contribute to the conversation. What can a chair do in that situation?
Well, actually they can do quite a lot. So you get board members or committee members who speak too much. You get ones who don't say anything at all. You get people who are very aggressive in their questioning. In some cases, the chairman can intervene straight away. He can intervene to cut off somebody nicely who's going on for too long. He can invite people to participate, not by putting them in the spot, but inviting them when it's a topic that he or she knows that person is interested in. Also, if there's side conversations, which is very disruptive to a board, he can close those down.
Is it always helpful for the chair to intervene like that in the board meeting?
Not always. Sometimes it can embarrass people. So it's also important for the chairman sometimes to take somebody aside after the board meeting, not wait until there's a regular scheduled one-to-one meeting, but it's best to do it straight away and say, well, you know, Jane, I'd just like you to tone it down a little bit. Let's have some other people speaking, or I'd like to hear more from you. Could you contribute a bit more? And those conversations that the chairman's having with people outside the boardroom are very important to the board functioning well. So what we've discussed today, Dineshi, are 4 elements that can help chairmen to be really effective. First of all, watch the time. Facilitate, don't dominate. Thirdly, try and foster a positive, open atmosphere in the boardroom. Keep it high energy. And fourthly, stop some of the bad behaviours if people are dominating or not speaking enough, for instance.
I can't help but ask one final question, and that is, what about the chair? What if the chair is the problem? And for example, they're hogging the floor, they're doing all those things that you say not to do, dominating, being slightly aggressive about things. What do you do in that situation?
A good chairman also has to ask for feedback. And in a board context, it could be the senior independent director that gives feedback. And it's very important to listen to that feedback and act upon it and not become an island at the top of the committee or the board or the ExCo.
Catherine, that's been a fascinating insight. You've shared with us some guidance and things that members of the board and the chairman can do to have a better meeting.
It's also something that we do as part of our board evaluations. Sometimes it's difficult for chairmen to hear feedback from their colleagues. That can be the value of getting an external evaluator. And as part of our reviews, we always observe the board and we see how the chairman's actually operating in practice. And it's an opportunity for us to give him or her feedback and hopefully make them into a better chairman.